Good evening and welcome to this week's episode of Duck TV News. I'm Daisy Caballero.
And I'm Delaney Garland. Here are tonight's top stories. Uber may finally be making its way back to Eugene. Uber's operations were suspended in April 2015 due to new regulations requiring specified licenses for ride-sharing services. According to the Register Guard, on Wednesday a vote passed, allowing changes in these regulations. The goal is to make sure that ride safety can be enforced while supporting both Uber and Eugene's taxi services. It is unclear when this riding service will resume in Eugene, but there will be another vote that requires a public hearing. This has yet to be scheduled.
A UO student group is helping build homes for the low-income families in Eugene. Georgina Fernandez has more.
You may have heard the stories about Studio from architecture students. Now these University of Oregon students get to take their education by hand as they work through the Oregon Builds program to create new homes and memories for lower-income families. The OR Builds organization started back in 2014 after receiving a grant from the Yuval Meyer Fund for a Sustainable Environment. During fall 2016, one of the studio classes designed the layout of the house. The house began construction work in the start of 2017. Madison Alt, an architecture student at the UVO, describes why she is part of the program.
It's a great practical experience, hands-on experience, just to use your hands and be a part of something. You learn a lot more than you do just sitting in a classroom.
Located in West Eugene, the house is expected to wrap up its final construction this late spring. In the meanwhile, students are placing the final interior touches as they move on to finish the cosmetic works on the outside. Eli Cox-Scal, an architecture student at the UVO, explains what he has learned from the program.
By everyone kind of getting out here and meeting those other people, I think you kind of help to build empathy and also just understand that people who build houses have insane amount of skills, and when we're out here and making mistakes, we can really see that.
Reporting for Duck TV, I'm Georgina Fernandez.
Thanks, Georgina.
On Thursday night, members of the Oregon community participated in Take Back the Night, a sexual assault and domestic violence awareness event. Take Back the Night aims to end sexual violence, domestic violence, and abuse. The event began with a rally at the EMU where people of all ages spoke out and showed their support for survivors. After the rally, a march continued all the way through downtown Eugene. The march was a huge turnout for the 40th anniversary of this event. For more information on how you can help to be an ally, go to takebackthenight.org. And now over to the sports desk, where Pablo and Rachel will get you all caught up in Oregon sports.
Good evening and welcome to Duck TV Sports. I'm Rachel Friend.
And I'm Pablo Hernandez. Coming up, an update on the NFL draft and a sweep of the Huskies. Oregon softball took the win in a series against the Washington Huskies this past weekend. The Ducks, now 15-3 in the Pac-12, sit only a half game behind leaders UCLA. But the good news for the Ducks doesn't end there. DJ Sanders, Gwen Svekis, and Jenna Lilly have all been selected in the 2018 National Professional Fast Pitch College Draft. Svekis, picked third overall by the Chicago Bandits, is now the highest selection in program history. She will have Ducks teammate DJ Sanders, who hit 11 home runs and 32 RBIs along her inside Chicago. Jenna Lilly will be returning to her home state of Ohio after being selected 22nd overall by the Cleveland Comets. Lilly, who started her career at Oregon earning Pac-12 Freshman of the Year, reflects on the legacy of the program.
It's been an honor to be a part of it all 4 years and watch the program grow in different ways. I think kind of break through some barriers of being an underdog to now being one of the top programs at the school for an established period of time. And it's really special.
Runners around the country came to run in the 12th annual Eugene Marathon last weekend. The marathon held events aimed at a younger audience. Ruby Quintero has more.
The University of Oregon, best known as Tracktown USA, prides itself on collegiate athletics. But last weekend at Hayward Field, people of all ages came together as a community to run in the 12th annual Eugene Marathon. The first race, the Duck Dash, began early Saturday morning. For kids, this race allowed them to explore their love for running with friends, parents, and even clubs. For the Cesar Chavez Running Club, participating in this event helps them achieve their goal of completing a marathon, a task they have been working on in PE and in clubs.
Yeah, it's a huge deal because some of our kids have never been here, and to finish on Hayward Field is unbelievable that they give them this opportunity. It might be the only time. I've never been on Hayward Field, but they get to run across Hayward Field on the finish line. It's huge, and the parents are so proud.
Not only has this event taught kids to persevere, but to stay strong and healthy. Parents also took part in the race to set an example for their kids. For those who weren't able to, they stood by, cheering them on. Next year, many kids also hope to move on to run the 5K. With Duck TV Sports, I'm Ruby Quintero.
1,427 runners completed the marathon, with the average time being between 3 and 6 hours to finish the race.
The 2018 NFL Draft had its fair share of green and yellow, with the Oregon Ducks sending in a total of 7 players from the team. Royce Freeman, the Ducks' all-time leading rusher, was the first to be drafted by the Denver Broncos in the 3rd round. In the 5th round, the Detroit Lions landed offensive tackle Tyrell Crosby, a pick that ESPN analyst Todd McShay calls, quote, the best player available for me coming into today. The Ducks also had many undrafted free agents, highlighted by Tanner Carew and Scott Pagano, who both signed with the Seattle Seahawks. Other undrafted agents included Arion Springs, who signed with the Kansas City Chiefs, Henry Mondeau signing with the New Orleans Saints, and Tyree Robinson signing with the Dallas Cowboys.
The Oregon Duck track and field team will host former Oregon athletes at the Oregon Twilight Meet this upcoming Friday at Hayward Field. This past weekend, top sprinters for Oregon's track team shook up the 2018 NCAA Top 10 on Saturday at the Desert Heat Classic in Arizona, finishing with a total of 6 event wins. Alacia Johnson and Braxton Kennedy were 2 notable competitors for the Ducks as they broke facility records and achieved personal bests for the season. The OSU High Performance Meet was also held this Saturday in Corvallis, with more personal bests from jumper Ben Milligan and sprinter Miles Webb.
The Oregon Ducks baseball team is preparing for their next series against the Oregon State Beavers on May 1st. The Ducks are fresh off their series against USC, where they defeated the Trojans 2-1. Game 2 was highlighted by Kenyon Yovan's pitching, where he struck out 15 batters. The 15 strikeouts marked the 3rd most in program history in Yovan's career high. Alongside with the pitching, the offense was in full swing. The Ducks recorded a total of 9 runs, led by Jacob Goldfarb and Spencer Steer. The two combined for a total of 3 RBIs and 3 runs, enough to steal the game from the Trojans.
That's a wrap for this week's episode for Duck TV Sports.
Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram for everything Oregon athletics. Back to Daisy and Delaney at the desk.
Thanks, guys. Wish you could have had a duck's eye view before attending the UO. Sammy Domino has more.
The University of Oregon has created a new way to bring prospective students to campus using virtual reality goggles. The goggles allow prospective students to experience what it's like to be a duck on campus. To work the goggles, students who have been accepted to the university need a smartphone and the free app which allows them to experience the world of UO 360. Travis Kim, student director of the Prospective Student Flight Crew, says that with the glasses, prospective students can see all the cool things campus has to offer.
There's so many things on campus that we wanted to convey to prospective students, you know. A lot of times when people come on tours, the yield or like the possibility of them committing to the U of O like skyrockets. So, you know, the idea that we can take that experience and move it all over the nation in a very concealed, like easy to process way is really exciting.
UO 360 includes 88 audio and visual features such as 360-degree videos, panoramas, and time lapses. When prospective students put the goggles on, they experience what it's like to be on campus during the fall term. Salem High School senior Shakina Ocampo says the effort the UO put into the virtual reality goggles shows her that the school cares about their students.
It also showed me how dedicated U of O was, because I was like super surprised like that they put in a lot of work into the app and into this little cardboard setup. So kind of helped me see that the school does care for its students.
For Duck TV News, I'm Sammy Domino.
The university spent over $200,000 on the app and is hopeful the goggles will boost admittance rates in the future.
In other university news, Ty Bowie's graphic novel, The Best We Could Do, has been selected as next year's UO Common Reading Novel. The Common Reading Novel is an annual book club for incoming students. The novel explores what it means to be a refugee and asks tough questions about family and suffering. Freshman Seth Tall thinks the personal viewpoint of the author is important to the story.
It's kind of like comparing a situation where, like, if you want to hear about a tragic event from the person versus just hear about it in the news, like which source do you think would be more impactful, the person who experienced that event or just whatever news outlet is, you know, telling you what happened?
The book is now available for purchase at the Duck Store.
If you're looking for new activities to do here in Eugene, listen up. A new book, 100 Things to Do Before You Die, is a bucket list full of adventures and activities in Eugene. Julie Henning, author of the book, breaks down the activities in 5 categories, such as music and entertainment, food and drinking, and shopping and fashion. You can find this bucket list in Eugene bookstores.
The Eugene Saturday Market has many local vendors. One of these vendors is an artist who makes art with something special: dead flies. Eugene artist Steve Barnes sells black and white oil paintings with dead flies glued on. Going by the pseudonym Sheridan Kilmore, Barnes paints in an elemental style with just a subject and no background. Some have expressed disgust towards his work. Barnes acknowledges that those views are from his own experiences.
I had a lot of fear. I was kind of like a scared person, and I was really scared of these flies that I was breeding. I was farming flies. I was scared of them.
Barnes took to his own journey to understand the flies, inspiring his own art.
I hung out with the flies, and some of the imagery I got from really embracing the scariest, darkest thoughts I could, I translated those onto canvas.
In addition to the Saturday Market, you can find Sheridan Kilmore on his Facebook page and Instagram. Thanks for watching this week's episode of Duck TV News.
Be sure to follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Duck TV News. Have a great night, Eugene.